Hello, and how you doing today? Welcome to the weather update. It was a kind of a gloomy, kind of cloudy, high overcast day. We did have the sunny times, and a little bit warmer than I thought. Actually, a lot warmer than I thought here in Mineola. It actually turned out to be pretty warm. I got all the fans going. It was a nice breeze on the South Shore. I get back here, and especially to my street, and then up the stairs into this hot place, and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I've got the hugest headache. I felt fine until I got here, so. If I seem a little out of it, I've taken a medicine for it. It's just the place is gonna kill me. It's just too hot. I can't survive here. I need to be on the South Shore. It's a matter of my survival. Don't these snobs get it? Anyway, so yeah, this is Southard's Lake, obviously, and this is Argyle Lake. You can see the clouds in the sky, but at least it was cooler there, and there was more of a breeze. A lot cooler on the South Shore. Actually cold, but here it's much warmer. Anyway. Let's go look at our satellite image. You can see plenty of these clouds around. You see them, even low clouds, some high clouds, and even the moon was out tonight a little bit. The little faint sliver of a moon I was able to get a picture of, kind of blurry, but it definitely had like an orangish look to it almost. It was kind of hazy. It doesn't really show in this camera picture here, but it definitely was on the hazy side for sure. Um, so let's go look at our current temperatures and figure out why I got this terrible headache. So let's see what we got here. Or it's showing mid 50s, or it's not that warm, I guess. Low 50s in the South Shore. So a little bit cooler on the South Shore. Not a huge difference, but I don't know, for whatever reason, there is not an observation in Mineola here. But if there was, it would be warmer. We'll have to go, you know what? We'll go look at the Wonder Map in a minute. Before we go to the Wonder Map, let's go over our highs today and lows, and you can see all the coastal advisories that we still have in effect here. Let's see. It is gale warning. So we got a gale warning for the offshore waters. We got coastal flood advisory. And then what do we have here? A coastal flood watch for parts of southwest New Jersey, I guess. But anyway, let's go. See, temperatures generally in the mid 50s still. So we'll go look at our highs today. And let's see. Yeah, look at how much warmer it was. See that 66? That's my area right there. The rest of Long Island was in the low 60s, but my area got into the mid 60s. You can see central Nassau was very warm, mid 60s. Actually warmer here than LaGuardia even. I'm telling you, this area is just so hot. The South Shore was in the upper 50s for the day. Suffolk County, low 60s. Got low 60s and then mid 50s on the Forks there. Now let's see how about Ocean County, Toms River. Oh, even warmer there. So downtown Toms River 62, but if you headed inland west of the Parkway, up near 70 degrees, very warm today. So still quite warm there. We'll go look at our lows. And our lows generally mid 40s, only around 50 in the city. And Jersey probably mid 40s as well, I'm sure. As we're waiting for it to load. But you know what? I don't feel well. I don't have the patience to wait for it to load, so I'm not gonna. We'll go look at Wonder Map next. And just see what I just got this bad headache. I was fine until I got here, I swear. It's this neighborhood. It's like an urban heat island here. Let's see. 53. It's showing 53. It feels warmer than that. I don't know. It is warm. It's above normal. So temperature is generally the same, seems to be. So I don't know. Especially when I get to my block. But there isn't a thermometer on my block. So, but anyway, temperatures are in the mid 50s right now. I just wanted to look at this for a moment and see if it was actually any warmer. But still very warm in the central Nassau County. It was ridiculous how warm the central part of Long Island was today. Well, warmer than I thought it was going to be, considering we had a backdoor cold front come through. Or maybe a weak backdoor cold front, I guess. 60 degrees for a high at Islip, a low of 47. The high was 4 degrees above normal. The low is 8 degrees above normal. That puts us 6 degrees above normal for the day. Central Park, 67 degrees. And there are 8 degrees above, 67 for a high, and 8 degrees above normal for the day. So, yeah, above normal. Even with the backdoor front, still above normal. So let's look at our, I don't know if they've got a briefing for this storm here. They don't have a briefing for it, but you can see this is the storm here that will be affecting us, and you can see that moisture coming out of the Gulf. You can see the center of low pressure there, and there is some severe weather with this as well. So we're going to look at the radar now and show you this is going to be what's going to be heading our way for tomorrow. You can see it's almost like two sections of it. This section over here, stretching through the Midwest, through St. Louis, Missouri, into Ohio, and then this other section here, which has most of the severe weather in it, in the south. It's almost like two different systems here. If you look at the weather map, does it show? Yeah, it does show two different systems. You can see you have an area of low pressure forming here. Look at these multiple warm fronts and cold fronts they have on this map. But in either case, you're getting a lot of thunderstorm activity in now the Florida Panhandle into Georgia. Looks like it's absolutely pouring in Georgia right now. That is a whole lot of rain right there in this particular section of this system here. That's a huge slug of rain right there that they're getting. I'm kind of curious to see what the rainfall amounts are going to be in these areas when it's done. Lightning, I'm sure there's a lot of it, so we'll go ahead and look at that. Oh yeah, a lot of it, like almost 500 strikes a minute in this area alone. No thunderstorms. It's more of a stratiform rain over here, but this is all convective. Got that Gulf moisture there getting into it, so that's what we have. So let's go to the Storm Prediction Center, and you can see we have that marginal risk, but there was a tornado watch briefly issued. Now let's go to tomorrow's convective outlook, because all this action shifts east, and now we see an enhanced risk in Ohio and marginal risk into parts of Pennsylvania, much of the mid-Atlantic, and a slight risk into the northern part of Florida here. And then we go to the day 3 outlook, and it's got us just in a general thunderstorm outlook. So now that we've seen all that, let's look at this storm that we're going to have to deal with. So this is the storm right here. You can see that center of low pressure, and it's going to go up into the Great Lakes up north. You can see there will be a slug of rain, heavy rain, probably later tomorrow night, overnight into Friday, with thunderstorms possible. And you can see those tight isobars again indicating a very strong low-level jet. And then another big storm. It's always a big storm. This goes into the Great Lakes as usual. And as we get toward the weekend, you'll see here that we get into some breezy and somewhat still a little unsettled conditions. But in this weather update, we're going to mainly focus on the storm that we have coming our way. So let's go to the HRRR. We've got 45 frames of the HRRR. You know what? Let me go to we'll look at the GFS first, because I want to have the full HRRR in before we do that. So let's do that here, and we'll use this setting. That's fine. So you could get a chance just to look at the GFS here. Obviously, the resolution's low, but you can see the heavier rain that we're going to have fall over our area for this storm and the duration of the storm. And as far as how much rain we will get, well, let's see what the HRRR has to say about that. And the GFS. What I mean, this headache slowly starting to fade. I got all the fans going. I don't know if you can hear them. I'm trying to get this place to cool down as much as I possibly can, without lifting the roof off. So, I guess I could put the air conditioner on, but it's cool enough out there. I think I can manage without it. So it's showing around an inch of rain, the GFS. It's not so much that we're going to see a lot of heavy rain. I'm concerned about the wind issue. So let's go to the 850 winds here and show you the low-level jet that we're going to deal with here. And there it is. So you can see it's going to be mainly after midnight that we're going to get into that low-level jet. There are the purples right there. And that's where you're going to have a lot of the thunderstorms that could bring some of those stronger winds down to the surface with this low-level jet. We will look at the surface winds next on the GFS. You can see the kind of surface. Look at that. That's bad. The red's right over the ocean like this. These are sustained winds. So, yeah, this is going to be a rough overnight. Luckily, it's happening overnight, but it's going to cause problems. Definitely, when that is substantial. It's a substantial amount of wind right there. It's going to be brief, but it could cause some brief coastal flooding, because you're going to have, again, more damage to the beaches again. It's going to happen again, and, I'm sure our politicians in South Shore 12 will be all over it. And that move, luckily it moves out. It's a quick mover, but it's going to cause some issues. That's for sure, and I'm surprised they haven't issued a high wind watch or wind advisory yet, but I expect that to happen, relatively shortly. Let's look at the F-Gen. So you can see not really impressive levels of F-Gen here. That's the good news on all this, which is why we're not going to see, I think, a crazy amount of rain. I'm more concerned about the wind than anything else at this point. We'll go to the dew points and wind flow on the GFS just to show you what we're going to be dealing with this storm. So you can see the humidity starts increasing tomorrow. You're going to start getting to that humid feel, especially as we get toward later in the evening. You got a south wind. So with the south wind, like that, almost a south-southeasterly component, it will tend to be cooler on Long Island versus New Jersey. It will be probably a pretty big temperature gradient tomorrow. And then we still have the south wind Friday, early Friday morning before it comes southwesterly. But notice Friday we're still dealing with the southwesterly wind because the trough is still over here. It hasn't passed yet, so we're still kind of dealing with this. And then we'll have stronger, and then we'll have breezy conditions on Saturday with the west wind, and then it starts backing off to the southwest again on Sunday. But this is a pretty substantial warm air mass that we have coming up. And we'll show this to you right now. So let's back this off here. So you'll see, yeah, I know, today was warm. Well, tomorrow it's going to be, you're probably going to deal with 70s in Jersey again. And it's even showing, even on Long Island, the North Shore, perhaps we may still manage to get up into the mid-60s, perhaps, despite the cloud cover. You know, if the sun does try to peek out, it could, despite that strong southerly wind. You know, if you're on the South Shore, it'll be cooler, obviously. We'll look at the HRRR, which is a better range. Look at that. And the temperatures rise to the 60s overnight ahead of this cold front. And then for Friday, we're in the 60s, so not really much of a cool down. And then for Saturday, we see maybe temperatures drop to the upper 50s. And then we start seeing that warm-up creep back in by Sunday again. Of course, I'm really focused on this storm. But I just want to show you where this warm air is coming from, so I'm going to go back to the CONUS view. So you can take a look at this and show you that surge of warm air. And look at that unusual signature there. It's very weird. And again, if we look at the dew points here, it kind of shows, again, the humidity that's surging up from the tropics. You can see clearly, you can see that surge of moisture. This is tropical air coming right from the Gulf of Mexico and the deep tropics, getting pushed up ahead of this front right here. And that's what's going to create the moisture for all these thunderstorms that we're going to see develop. And like I said, we could see I think we have a decent shot at some thunderstorms tomorrow. So now, let's see. I think we've got enough of the HRRR to go and look at it. We still don't have all the frames in. All right, but we have most of them in, so it should be enough. So we'll start with the HRRR here. In fact, you know what? I'll go to the... Well, we have almost all of them in, so let's go. Look at the HRRR and show you what it shows. So just a few stray showers here. You have a few stray showers for most of the day tomorrow. See maybe a few stray ones in the afternoon. But the heavier stuff waits until later. And then it's really going to be this line that we're going to have to watch here. There might be a series of lines. There's one line here. The HRRR is even slower. It doesn't really bring it through until like 5 in the morning. And then there's another little line that pops up in the late morning hours. So it almost is showing two different lines here, where there could again be thunderstorms with these lines. And then again, the possibility of some instability showers behind this, because the air is still going to be unstable behind it. We're still in that cyclonic flow, as you can see clearly in the circulation of this low pressure area here. Yeah, that's looking kind of wet, but it won't be that wet. Like I said, so because it's showery and it's not, you know, maybe the HRRR is even trending drier now, maybe even less than an inch of rain. But depending on who gets all the showers and thunderstorms out of this, of course. We'll go ahead and look at the dew points and wind flow on the HRRR now. So you'll see that southerly flow surging up. Here it is, surging up into our area, bringing all that humidity in LLJ, typical LLJ. And you'll see the dry air doesn't really start. We don't see that drying until that second line of thunderstorms comes through. And then by the afternoon, when the winds go a little more west-southwesterly versus south-southwest, we'll see the dew points start to drop a little bit. But it'll still remain kind of on the moist side out there. Air temperatures for tomorrow. You'll see that there's a big difference. Again, Jersey, you're going to see 70s perhaps, 70 or better, at least 60s. Long Island, though, HRRR is thinking only 50s. So with the thick cloud cover, I'm thinking we'll only have 50s. But we actually wind up getting warmer at night as that right ahead of that cold front where temperatures will rise in the 60s. And then we're still going to be around 60 degrees for Friday. on the HRRR here. Um, let's go to the NAM next. And for the NAM, I'm going to go to the 18Z NAM. 3 kilometer. And you'll see, again, the first little area of rain there. It's like maybe with one warm front. And then we see some scattered showers. Generally on the light side, though, they could briefly be heavy, very briefly. Again, it's going to be tropical, so it could be small water droplets. And then here comes that surge of moisture that comes through. Surge 1 after midnight, and then there's another little front that comes through around. They seem to be on the idea of these 2 fronts. But you'll notice, a lot of the time it won't be raining. It's showery, so that's why we're not really going to see huge amounts of rain with this. It is trending drier. But again, where these storms develop, it could be heavier. So keep that in mind. It all depends on where these storms develop. And right now, the models might be underdoing it. So I got to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and look at the LLJ on this. This has the LLJ right here. Let's go ahead and look at the LLJ on here so you get to see it. So here's the LLJ, and you can see that LLJ comes in after midnight, and that's when we got to worry about the strongest winds coming through from this storm. So let's go to a different site. Let's go to Vent2Sky, and we'll go over the wind gusts here for the system tomorrow. And you notice most of the day you're not going to deal with crazy amounts. All right, it gets a little worse toward the evening. You're going to start seeing gusts up to 30, and I think that wind advisory will probably be needed by then. But the worst of the wind is going to wait until later at night. You can see the worst of that wind off to the west. And as we get toward early Friday morning is when we're going to see these winds ramp up ahead with this LLJ. And you start to see some gusts close to 50 miles an hour here. Maybe even some exceeding 50. Again, this could overperform. All depends how the mixing happens. But you can see that 4 a.m. hour. It's going to be the middle of the night tomorrow night that we're going to see a pretty rough night. Wind gusts up to possibly close to 60 miles an hour now showing on this HRRR. And it all depends in the thunderstorms, because the thunderstorms can mix that stronger wind from aloft down to the surface. And you'll see the worst of the wind does end by like 8 o'clock. All right, but any thunderstorm could bring those stronger winds down to the surface, and I'll explain that to you when we go to the wind speeds here. We'll go above the ground. We'll go to 950, and we'll show you what the winds are at 950, which is 1,600 feet above us, which isn't that much. Isn't that like the top of the Empire State Building or something like that? Look at that. 81 miles an hour. So you see when that actually that LLJ starts moving in, you can see even here, even after midnight, we start seeing wind gusts of 73, and they start building. So these are the kind of winds that could be brought down to the surface by a thunderstorm. And then I think the worst of it's gone by after sunrise. Maybe it hangs on for the east end, the high wind threat. But there's definitely going to be a high wind threat with this storm. And we're going to have to, again, deal with another windstorm. How many of these have we dealt with so far? I don't ever remember dealing with so many windstorms ever. And then we have the oceans. And we're going to have some rough surf here. Again, there's going to be beach erosion, 12-foot waves, 11-foot waves. You'll see it doesn't get bad until we get toward 5 in the morning, 11 in the morning, when that fetch starts building over the ocean. Luckily, it's going to be a short duration, but it still could cause more problems, more beach erosion, more dunes to wash out, and perhaps the fancy new little building they put in at Tow Bay after Sandy, it could be wiped out in a storm. That's a possibility, and we're going to get to see Joe Saladino cry and bawl over it, right? I hate to make light of it, but his reaction is just priceless. Our beloved beach is gone. Well, now it's going to get finished off. And they're not sending the money because they know it's futile. These storms are part of the new normal as we deal with the climate crisis. We need new waves to deal with. Putting more sand there isn't going to be a solution. We're going to need to rethink the way we have our beaches, and we're going to have to think about putting jetties in and other things to mitigate erosion. Because Long Beach, they don't deal with the erosion as badly because they have the jetties. It helps with that. But yeah, we're concerned about that too. So I'll go to look at the thunderstorm threat as far as Cape goes. Oddly enough, not showing any really big Cape levels here. The Cape levels seem to be mainly over the west and with that second line. So it seems like it has more of a Cape situation with the second line, and there is instability behind this low. So this is the concern that we're going to have with the instability behind this system. that we're going to see those spot showers, and you never know. Maybe one of them could be severe as well. You never know. With some cape around, anything, it's anybody's guess. Go to windy.com next, and we'll look at our. And again, they changed this site, but we're going to go look at it anyway here. This is I want to go ahead and look at the thunderstorms for tomorrow and see when you'll see this. Start to see if we see any thunderstorms. It does have some, yep. So there's a good chance I think we're going to see thunderstorms with this. I think there's a good, well, whether they'll be severe or not, it's really too early to tell. Right now, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like we have all the parameters there, but given the kind of air mass and the strength of the low that we do have, it wouldn't be a surprise that we would see a severe possibility from this. Let's go to the winds, and of course, if we got to go to wind, then I got to change this to wind to find wind gusts. So let's go to wind gusts here and find that. Again, they always wind gusts. There we go. So let's go ahead and look at this LLJ on this. This is the European model, and it actually looks kind of scary. So this is the European model, 4 in the morning, 54 mile an hour wind gusts over Nassau County. Yeah, this European is definitely looking kind of scary. So, yeah, we could see, very strong wind gusts of 50 miles an hour or better. I think we have a good chance of that again. And, of course, we're going to see more power outages as well. That won't be reported on by South Shore 12. They'll be all over the beaches. But you'll see here that this is going to cause some problems. So your Friday morning commute may be messed up because of it, especially if you rely on the Long Island Railroad. Who knows how the main lines... I'm amazed none of those poles have come down. Maybe this is the storm that's going to finally bring down some of those poles that I've been showing you and talking about. Let's go to the NAM. We'll go to the wind gusts on the NAM if we want to be scarier. Let's go to that. Yeah, the NAM is really scary. Take a look at that. 64 mile an hour wind gusts. This may be overdone, but this is the kind of LLJ that we're going to have to worry about here. So hopefully this is overdone. The NAM probably is a little overdone on these winds. But yeah, 67 miles an hour. This is going to be a pretty significant low-level jet event, I think. You got to remember how tight those isobars are. It all depends on how much it mixes up. And look at how warm. Is that a temperature? That's not a wind gust. That's a temperature. 71 degrees it has at Iceland. So the NAM is really bringing in some very warm air. This may be overdone. Like I said, this may very well be overdone. Let's go back to the wave simulation here on the European. You'll see what I mean here. Yeah, 11-foot waves. We're going to see more beach erosion again. I think we're going to see more of that happen for your... yeah, I definitely think we're going to see some of that. It's going to be bad. You'll see here, earlier on Thursday, it's not that bad. It's later that we start seeing that. All right? So most of your Thursday won't be stormy. I don't know if there... Let me go to visibility and see if this is showing any... drizzle issues for tomorrow. Right, that's 9 o'clock. Obviously, it has us in the rain, but it really doesn't show much in the way of drizzle tomorrow. I think we're mainly just going to have to watch for those spot showers. So going back to tidbits here, and again, this LLJ looks pretty freaking scary here. And I'll go to the NAM 12 here, and we'll go to the... Actually, we have only 19. We'll have the 0Z. We'll show you the LLJ in the NAM 12 as well, so you get a chance to look at this NAM. This NAM is really pumping that LLJ. The Cape, it gets even worse. So, yes, this could be bad. And if we go to the winds at the surface, yeah, you see what we're dealing with here. We're going to have to really watch this carefully. And I think we'll have a better idea tomorrow. But this wind event looks like it's getting more and more significant. Look at how deep that low is. I mean, that's insane. This is just nuts. It's just nuts. What can I tell you? It's just nuts. But anyway, now that we've gone through everything else, let's just lastly look at the sky conditions. And obviously with... You can look at the RGM too for the winds as well. But I'm going to look at the sky conditions. All right. Obviously tomorrow we'll have plenty of clouds around. Don't expect much sun. Though it does show a couple of little breaks, which may just help to stabilize things further. Friday, plenty of clouds, maybe a few breaks in the afternoon. As far as the weekend goes, we're still dealing with this instability trough, so we're going to have clouds probably building on Saturday, unfortunately. For a partly sunny day, it won't be mostly sunny. But anyway, this storm looks pretty significant. I'm surprised that a briefing has not been put out by the Weather Service on this. They do have headlines, but they don't actually have a briefing yet, which is kind of surprising me. The storm will be significant, and it will cause more damage on top of already a bad situation. So buckle up. Here comes another crazy windstorm. I think we're windier than the Windy City now, officially. So that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. Have a good night.